Welcome to the History Radio channel. Why the US dropped atomic bombs to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. At the time, the Imperial Japanese Army had suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Midway and was in the midst of an attack by US forces on the Japanese homeland. In fact, before the US military attacked the Japanese mainland, an Allied summit meeting, known as the Yalta Conference, was held in Crimea, Soviet Union, in 1945 between the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and the United States. The meeting was attended by Prime Minister Churchill from the United Kingdom, Director General Stalin from the Soviet Union, and President Roosevelt from the United States. At that meeting, besides how Japan would be governed by the Allies after the war, it was decided that the Soviet Union would enter the war against Japan. The Soviet Union attacked Japan from the north, and the US from the south in a pincer attack on Japan. Then, why did the US allow the Soviet Union to enter the war, even though the US had continued to win so far in Japan's favor? At the time, the Hideki Tojo cabinet of the Empire of Japan had stockpiled many weapons in the Tokyo area in preparation for a decisive battle on the mainland, and several 100,000 Kwantung Army troops were in Manchuria, which was scheduled to move south from Manchuria to fight the US forces. Therefore, it was extremely difficult for the US forces to attack the Japanese home country alone, and the US, at that time, allowed the Soviet Union to enter the war. As a result, there was criticism in the US home country about this, saying that if the Soviet Union entered the war against Japan, Hokkaido would be communized and become a new threat to the United States. However, the relationship between the US and the Soviet Union at that time was relatively good, especially between Stalin and Roosevelt. It is said that they got along so well that Churchill was jealous of their friendly talk at the Yalta Conference. However, Roosevelt died in April 1945 after the Soviet Union decided to enter the war against Japan. Harry S. Truman was then elected as the next president. Harry S. Truman, unlike Roosevelt, was not on good terms with Stalin and thoroughly disliked communism. Therefore, Truman feared the creation of a new communist state in Asia and the need to end the war as soon as possible before the Soviet Union moved south to Japan. Therefore, in the US home country, to fight against hundreds of thousands of Kwantung Army without the Soviet Union would be very difficult with a lot of sacrifices. To end the war as soon as possible before the Soviet Union moved south into Japan to prevent the communization of Japan. With the above in mind, the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. As a result, although Truman's actions caused many casualties, Japan was spared a national schism similar to that between North and South Korea, or East and West Germany. Why the US dropped atomic bombs to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. First, Japan still had a lot of offensive forces left in the mainland, and Japan planned to fight the US thoroughly in a decisive battle on the mainland. Therefore, the US forces considered that they would suffer tremendous damage if they were to take this seriously against Japan. Second, the US feared the Soviet Union's entry into the war against Japan and the communization of Japan's northern line. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy it. If you like it, please subscribe to our channel. Our channel will be a channel to transmit the history of the world in this way.